Hey guys, this is Phil Hornshaw with gamefront.tk, and this is part 2 of the first 30 minutes of God of War Ascension's single-player campaign. When last we left Kratos, he had just wailed on a bunch of dudes. He's chasing the Fury. I'm not sure which one precisely, but they've been torturing him. He's been captured, and he is now trying to escape their prison. So here we go. Here's Kratos. Trying to catch up to the Fury, and lots of obstacles in his way. A little boring stuff happened in the meantime.
You will see how we treat Oathbreakers here!
You'll notice the scale of this opening level, a lot like God of War 3, is absolutely huge, crazy, enormous. A little more weaponization there, a lot of combos, a lot of Kratos just kicking ass. That physical attack, you've probably come to realize how great that is in the beta too if you've been playing, especially for kicking people just straight out of the level. Now we're starting to realize that the Hecatoncheires, the Fury's other prisoner, is in fact this entire huge prison, and his 100 hands are going to play a big role in just a minute here. It's also super gross, as God of War is wont to be.
We will see how you fare against the Hecatoncheires!
Yeah, that was necessary. This gets me every time. So here we're getting a little bit of a sense of motion in the levels. This is something that Sony Santa Monica has said they wanted to bring to God of War to continue to amp up the scale of the different areas. I mean, last game in God of War 3 they brought in some really huge places and the scale was really increased. Now, to increase the scale, rather than just making things even bigger, because that's sort of impossible, you're going to see a lot more of the motion of levels actually changing the way that you're going to play, changing the way that you're going to interact with different fights. A lot of combo action there. And here we go with QuickTime events. I guess you're not seeing the button prompts, but they're there, as you would expect them to be in any other God of War boss fight. And see, now the whole battlefield has shifted, and now Kratos has to deal with a whole different set of attacks and circumstances. So he'll be trying to dodge into those holes to avoid that attack, because it sucks. And fighting upward more than horizontally, like he just was. You also notice that the Blades of Chaos are glowing. That's the new rage system, or the revamped rage system. As Kratos does more and more damage, the rage affects the way that his different weapons will work. So you'll do more damage, you'll get longer combos as you build up that rage meter, which again you can't see on this video, but it's there down on the right side of the hub. I'm sorry, the HUD. And it sounds like the Blades of Chaos will actually take on different properties as you continue through the story and unlock different abilities. So, you know, rage might affect your blades or differently depending on what properties you have attached to it. I would imagine like things like fire and other sort of elemental attacks are things that we should expect. This is another quick time event. Yeah, there we go. Nice one.
You cannot defeat us!
Another slightly new element. God of War 3 had a lot of flying and falling to dodge things. We're seeing more inside of Ascension with events like this with the sliding. Avoiding obstacles and fighting occasionally while sliding. But this comes up more, apparently. Sony Santa Monica has also talked about how they've tweaked the climbing a little bit to make it a little more organic, a little more in line with the environments as they're designed, so that they'll look less obvious but cooler, right? So you see Kratos kind of bouncing around here, moving on different planes and different levels. In a second, when he gets outside, you'll see the same thing. It's a little less linear than it has been in the past. Or at least it looks a little less linear. Okay, skipping ahead a few seconds to get into the action, avoiding stuff like boxes. And here's some new guys for Kratos to fight. Specifically, these guys are interesting because they're carrying spears. Different kind of weapon, world weapon than will be seen otherwise. This demo only includes the spears and the sword that we saw earlier. The spears are different from the swords in that they're ranged weapons. Like God of War 3 with different weapons, and also in the beta for Ascension. When you get a spear, you can kind of just wail into people long range. You can throw a bunch of them. They seem to replenish magically, that sort of thing. The different world weapons you can get in the game are going to give you different tactical options, and that's kind of the idea behind adding them from Sony Santa Monica's standpoint, is that they're going to allow you to adapt to different situations and also make critical decisions as you're fighting as to what sort of tactics you want to employ. So if you want to stay back and throw spears at people, if you want to run up close and get as many red orbs as you can because you need some with a sword, you're going to have to make that decision when you pick up new weapons or don't. In total there are 5. I believe the others are the shield, the sling,
I will not indulge
and the club that is available in Ascension's multiplayer beta. So you might have seen it there. Alright, we'll use this as the good stop point for part 2. I'm Phil Hornshaw with gamefront.tk. Check back for the 3rd and final part of the God of War Ascension single player campaign.